Imagine walking onto a stage at the exact moment when everything could either fall apart or come together beautifully. The lights are hot, the curtains are still settling, the audience is buzzing, and somewhere behind all that noise, there's a quiet thought running through your mind. Did the monologue land? Because when it doesn't, you can feel it instantly. The air changes, the smiles hesitate, and suddenly, the rest of the night feels like you're walking uphill. But when it works, when it truly works, it's like the entire evening takes a deep breath with you and says, all right, we're going to be fine. That's exactly how tonight felt. My first guest is not just a guest. He's a good friend. The kind of friend who doesn't need to say much. But you know he's rooting for you. He even admitted it. He said, I'm really rooting to see how they're going to be. And that kind of quiet support means more than applause ever could. He's someone who's been around long enough to know how unpredictable this business can be. Someone who understands that timing, mood, and the smallest shifts in energy can change everything. He has one of the better shows on television this year. His first show was some years ago, but now he's back with a series called Newhart. A clever title, the kind that feels simple but sticks with you. It airs Monday nights at 9:30. I only wish it were on this network, but networks have their ways. Thankfully, he's here tonight, and honestly, that's what matters. So please welcome Bob Newhart. Coming out right after the monologue is always a gamble. I've seen shows where the monologue didn't go well, and you can feel the strange tension creep in. It's subtle. The audience doesn't even realize it at first. But you do. You sense it in the way applause fades faster than it should, or in the way laughter feels polite instead of natural. And once that feeling sets in, it can follow you for the rest of the night like a shadow. But when the monologue hits, when it lands cleanly, it's like someone flips a switch. Everything opens up. Suddenly, the audience trusts you. They lean in. They're ready to go wherever you take them. That's how it felt tonight. It worked beautifully. Originally, I thought Tony Quinn would come out first. Bigger star. A perfect buffer between the monologue and me. That's usually how these things are planned. I figured that would give everyone a moment to settle. But just before Bob came out, I found out I'd be stepping on stage immediately after the monologue. Normally, that might make me nervous. Tonight, felt right. The audience was hot. Truly hot. Not the kind where applause dies out before you reach your mark. Not the kind where you feel like you're begging for a reaction. This was the real thing. Alive. Responsive. Ready. And that makes all the difference in the world. Now here's the thing, Bob wasn't here to plug anything. No movies. No new pictures. No hotel dates. No crass commercial reason at all. And that's refreshing. These days, the show takes most of your time anyway. Sure, he still travels. He still does one-nighters. But tonight wasn't about selling anything. It was about talking. About stories. About the strange, beautiful mess that is comedy. People magazine once wrote that Bob is 1/4 German and 3/4 Irish. And when you think about it, that combination explains a lot. The precision, the timing, the dry delivery, the quiet confidence. Germans are famously literal. Irish humor, on the other hand, dances around meaning, plays with understatement and surprise. Put those together and you get something rare. The truth is, Germans don't really do non-literal humor. They take things exactly as they're said. Someone once joked that more funny things are said at a single cocktail party in Paris than in an entire year in Germany. That might not be fair, but it makes a point. Literal minds struggle with absurdity. Dick Cavett once told me about appearing on German television. He tried to be funny. The host tried to explain the joke, and the audience just sat there staring, because the joke relied on wordplay, on implication, on things that don't translate. Even something like a Volkswagen ad feels different. You say the little holes are for ventilation, and someone says, or maybe for a machine gun, just in case. Two purposes. Very practical. Bob never performed in Germany. There was never really a reason to. Comedy like his depends on nuance, on rhythm, on pauses that say more than words. That kind of humor needs cultural understanding. England, though, that's different. Yes, they speak English, but it's still a foreign country. The rhythms are different. The timing shifts. The audience reacts differently. You can make it work, but you have to adapt. You can't just do the same act and expect the same response. Australia? That was something else entirely. Another English-speaking country. Long flight, 22 hours. That alone tests your sanity. Then you arrive, exhausted, trying to rehearse, trying to adjust. Bob went to the maitre d' and asked how many people were in the audience that night. 14. Just 14. Tomorrow? 9. The next night? None. 0. No audience at all. That kind of thing hits you hard. You start questioning everything. Was it the timing? The city? The material? Or was it just bad luck? Jenny went along on the trip. She was exhausted from the flight. The hotel happened to be in a rough district of Sydney. During the Vietnam War, soldiers would come there before heading back, not knowing if they'd ever return. The area was rowdy, loud, full of live nude shows and questionable establishments. Jenny wanted to relax. She opened the phone book and found a massage place. She walked in, innocent enough. The woman giving her the massage asked, "Am I being too rough?" Jenny said no. Then the woman said, "You know, you're the first woman I've ever done." Only then did Jenny realize where she was. Men laughing on either side of her. That's life on the road. That's comedy. Confusion, exhaustion, bad timing, and stories you couldn't make up if you tried. What makes Bob fascinating is that he remembers his failures just as clearly as his successes. People magazine pointed out that he remembers almost word for word the worst routine he ever did. Most people forget the flops. They cling to the hits. Not Bob. There was a routine about the first civilian going to Mars. He comes back and is interviewed. Are Martians more advanced than we are? Yes. How much more? About 6 weeks. They had double-edged blades before we did. 6 or 7 weeks later, we caught up. The audience didn't laugh. They didn't even react. They just stared. Then it got worse. The Martians were tiny. They had one ear. One of them borrowed $5 at a cocktail party and then avoided him forever. Martians are cheap, he said. Nothing. The premise was brilliant. The timing just wasn't there. And that's comedy. For every routine that works, for don't. Sometimes 5. Sometimes more. There's the old Martian joke about women looking just like Earth women, except their busts are on the back. Someone says, "That's terrible." And the reply comes, perfectly dry, "Well, it's great for dancing." That's Bob Newhart. Understated. Observant. Relentlessly human. Comedy isn't just jokes. It's travel. Culture. Failure. Silence. Long flights. Small audiences. Big risks. It's Germany not laughing. England nodding politely. Australia empty seats. And one perfect night when everything lines up just right. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into classic comedy, behind-the-scenes stories, and timeless moments from one of television's greatest minds, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the Insight Table, and share it with someone who appreciates real storytelling. Every like helps. Every subscription matters. Every share keeps these stories alive. Because comedy isn't just what happens on stage. It's what happens when a joke fails, when an audience is silent, when timing betrays you, and when, somehow, you get back up and try again. Here at the Insight Table, we celebrate all of it. So like, subscribe, and share. Because the next unforgettable story is always just one conversation away.